Hello, I am the Roninpawn, and welcome to a twitch.tv/Roninpawn live stream on twitch.tv/Roninpawn. Hey, I remember how to do this. It's only been a week that I haven't done a live stream. How you doing? Remember last stream, right at the end, I was like, you know, I've missed a couple of days there. I'm gonna be back tomorrow, and we're gonna... Welcome back to the live stream, everybody. Hello, Noah Craw. So, how y'all doing? Hey girl, how you doing? Oh, we're all doing the how you doing thing. Well, how am I doing? I'm doing very good. I'm doing great. I'm doing goddamn great. Look at my skin. Look at my skin. Look at the lack of, worry lines and I'm doing great. How you doing, Noah? You've been working hard on the bot. You've been working hard on breaking world records in hell? Is that a thing? I haven't looked, but I saw your message. I have been very tangentially catching little bits of information hither and thither throughout this past week that I've been missing because I've been preoccupied, let's say. Wolfie got it back 2 days later, and took all your methods though, didn't he, right? What are you gonna do? Still got 20-second time save, but you know how it is in hell, yeah? Yeah, I suppose I do. It's been a while since I've been in hell. More or less like a week. Not to say that the live streams... No. But you could shut off music. Thank you. But just to say that I've been elsewhere for the past week. I've been the opposite of hell for the past week. Sigh, thank you so much for the subscription. Welcome back. There was someone who subscribed in the interim, and I want to say thank you to that person, because the records aren't very good. It doesn't say in my Steam Labs who actually subscribed. I noticed it in the chat, and I usually write that sort of a thing down, and I didn't. Thank you, though. Hello, Finn the Wastebin. I have 1 bar, and I'm leaving reception. Oh, well, there will be another wedding, and you can meet somebody else at the after party. It's fine. I mean, I know there's a lot of drunken bridesmaids there, and kind of opportunities strike when the iron's hot. But sometimes you got to leave the reception before it's over. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Finn? Have a good day, Pawn. Thank you, Finn. And the Namthor, what's up? What's up? Wazik was up. What is up? I've been been a while. Indeed, it has. Hello, White Bones. What? This is Finn. He says you're leaving reception, and then I'm like, there's a reception, like after the wedding, you go to the reception. And anyway, now that I've killed the joke by explaining it, welcome back to the show. Where have I been? What's been going on? What? And here's the thing, all right. As some of you will be aware, I have been, really since the middle of the George W. Bush administration, working very hard to establish what some have reported in the news media as a domestic terrorist organization. But basically, freedom resistance. Just socialist movement from the underground. People quietly doing things, planting incendiary devices, that sort of a thing. And given what you no doubt are aware of the last week's worth of events in the U.S., it's just been a lot of conference calls. A lot of my lieutenants, I had to, just sort of help coordinate the Dallas side and just getting things together. Mainly I let the public facing part of, protests and things, that's handled by the lieutenants. But, we had a lot of work to do because this is, one, good for recruitment. Two, it's an excellent opportunity to roll out our, larger incendiary and explosive devices into certain locations that have, not been as well secured as they previously were. So past week, a lot of Zoom, a lot of teleconferencing, a lot of phone calls. It takes so much work organizing a revolution single-handedly. I figured that was as reasonable an explanation as any for where I've been. What happened for a week? Pawn is a terrorist? No, I've always been a terrorist, verbally. Need me to make a sub-cheer logger? That would actually be helpful because Streamlabs, it's weird. It logs some things and doesn't, and I've got the thing open right now, and it's like, I know about some things, but not others. Maybe within an hour of going live and going offline, it logs them. Pawn is playing the world like chess. I mean, you know, I also had to like replace my contact lenses because I don't want my Gios, influencing people when I don't want it to. I could say the wrong thing and then boom, we got a whole. Insights LG, thank you for the subscription. That is a 3-month streak. Sup, Ronan, miss y'all. Thank you so much, Insights. And Mosaic Task Force with a 30-month subscription on a 30-month streak. Holy burp, Batman. 30 months of supporting this artist. Thank you. 9th of May, I make the request of you watching your 500th YouTube video on stream. May I make the request? Okay, thank you. It wasn't the 9th of May. It was thank you, 9. And so that's like a... It's like, what it is it's a sideways face, right? And then he's like... But he's somehow managing to smile on this side. So it's like blown up. Maybe so it's a man who's been stung with a bee in his left cheek, if I'm looking at maybe his right cheek, but to stage left, it's always hard to get. But he's been stung by a bee, and he's slightly allergic, so it has swollen. But he's still smiling. He's happy about it. He's curled up right on me. May I make the request of you watching your 500th YouTube video on stream? My 500, like my that big thing where was that where I interviewed myself? Mosaic Task Force. I don't know if I want to look back at my old work that way. Been a while since I've seen you around. My schedule sucks hard, says Insights, plus time zones are bad for me most of the time. On streams, it's 3 to 5 a.m. Yeah, I like to do them early, and it's hard to... I like to do them early. I would prefer to be starting around 1 or 2 p.m. my time Eastern, because I know that means that people to the east of the east coast of the U.S., can be around for it. But I don't often do that, do I? That would require me to wake up at a reasonable human being sort of an hour and not be a vampire, and that's just not the way... It's not the way that life dished it out to me. Or it was a typo. No, it wasn't a typo, Mosaic. It was a man who's been stung in the cheek, and he's smiling... And yes, okay, so in the 9 and the parenthesis or the thing, they're on the same key on the keyboard. It is the great video where you announce yourself to be an artist. Oh yes, that's a different one, isn't it? I did 2 of those, didn't I? Is that one of the ones, though, where I was like, I am an artist, and now give me money or something? Was that also in conjunction with, with one of the, shockingly I can say this and it's not true, one of the multiple, like, charity campaigns that, you guys have, like, manifested for me over the years when I told you, I don't know how I'm going to make it through the next months, and it's like, well, how about a friggin' GoFundMe, and, hey, here's $1,200 out of the blue. Thank you so much for the support, Mosaic. 30 goddamn months on a 30-month streak. Shit. I missed enjoying a beer while watching you, says Insights LG. I've been enjoying many beers, but I haven't been able to enjoy them as much because I haven't been able to read insights telling me how much I am missed. Thank you. It is nice to be back and amongst friends. Pawn, I got recommended one of your YouTube videos, and it helps my constipation because I was able to push it all out. And push it out, boom, 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 and push it all out. That was a horrible, it's a horrible little recording thing, but, when you're doing multiple versions of yourself on the same camera, it's one take and done. So, I'm back, we're back, it's back, this is back, the Backstreet's back. Backstreet's still going on, too, if we're talking about the Game Grumps coded language for COVID. It's still a thing out there, and apparently the world has caught fire in my absence. Which is interesting, because I always thought that I'd be the one, pouring the gasoline and flicking the match. But apparently, as soon as I went away and started just enjoying myself and letting y'all just, like, deal with your shit, well, people started dealing with their shit. In terms of burning down police stations and rioting in the streets. I have heard so little about that. I've been living in a serene, beautiful monastery at the top of a mountain for the past week. An unplanned hiatus occurred, an unplanned vacation that I realize now I haven't had a vacation, I haven't mindfully taken a vacation since my mother and I went to Puerto Rico gumpteen years ago. Now, I have no idea how long that was. Aren't there massive riots in Detroit too, says Noah Craw? Maybe. I don't know. I have been that disconnected. I'll tell you, we've heard a lot of gunfire around the house certain nights. I heard, like, I counted the shots and it was 9 or 10. It was like someone emptying a clip on a pistol, and in quick succession too. It was, like pop, 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 pop. And when you hear it like that, you think, oh, maybe it's fireworks, but I think my ears know the difference. I've been living in Detroit long enough. I think I know the difference between a 9mm round and poppers. Yeah, we've been hearing a lot of gunshots. We've been seeing the cop cars come and go, but I would imagine, without having followed any of it, been completely on the outside, blissfully unaware, I would imagine that if you're going to riot in Detroit, well, you do it down on Woodward, maybe John R., but really Woodward is where you want to riot, because, that is the public face of Detroit, the mask that Detroit wears to try and fool people into thinking that it isn't Detroit, that, we don't have, that the cops come, and that business thrives, and that it's a lovely, pleasant place to live. Is the strip of Woodward. Everything on Woodward has been updated. It looks nice. It looks fancy. It's the green zone of Detroit. It's the Iraq green zone of Detroit. They have built it up to be the public face of Detroit so that they can sell the ever-present idea on loop for decades now that Detroit's really coming back. It never seems to get back, is the thing. It never really arrives to that destination. It's always in the process of getting to that destination, and we never get there. But yeah, so if I were, organizing that kind of violent revolutionary riotous action, personally, and by hand, if I were, I would definitely center the activities, right down Woodward, where everybody would see and notice and, care. Because you go a couple of blocks off of Woodward into where people live in Detroit, nobody gives a shit. Cops aren't coming. There are a bunch of riots everywhere, says Amon2842. I've heard that, yes, it's widespread. I would have thought that I would have seen something of it in Detroit, but honestly, like, I'm 6 Mile in Detroit, and downtown, like real downtown kind of starts 2 miles south of me and half a mile west of me, and yeah, and real downtown is, I'm 6 miles, so that's 6 miles from the Detroit River, so that's, I'm more or less 6 miles from the real downtown. Roninpawn is holding the world together. He leaves and everything collapses. Or, as soon as I stop babying everyone, they take their own problems seriously and fucking get the Molotovs lit that I've been shouting, get your Molotovs out for all these years. Did you wear the wig there, or were you bald? The hair is real. I did, however, when I was bailed out, I did have to, like, they didn't want to give it back for some. It's real, and it was always, it's how you can't take this off my head. What are you talking about? I did notice that there were certain, that the wig was missing, and about $150 that, just, it was in the wallet when it went into police custody, and now it's not. Hey, that's just Detroit for you. But, as long as I'm making shit up, let's go all in. What happens as leaders smack? I don't know. I'm just making shit up. I've been hearing about these riots, and I don't know, I don't even know about the inciting event more than that, like, I have been told, heard down the grapevine, haven't read or seen any coverage of it, but that, in the wake of the Ahmaud Arbery shooting, that I was still, basically trying to decide whether or not to post another video, whether or not to re-edit the video that I had to pull down after all of that mess, whether or not to post it, because still the news media had failed, and to my knowledge has still failed to show what is clearly visible in the footage, which is Travis McMichael raising and leveling his gun at Ahmaud Arbery as he's running down the middle of the street, and that's, like, going to be the pivotal, the pivotal fucking thing. Like, it's going to be huge in the trial to show that, you know, before there was any physical confrontation between these two men, one of them leveled a loaded shotgun at the other in the middle of a public street after chasing him apparently for 4 minutes. You know, that's going to be kind of important, and somehow the news media, as far as I'm aware, still has not shown, you know, for all of the, if you look at this moment in the footage, you'll see the no one's pointed out, if you look at this moment in the footage, you can see the shotgun being leveled across these frames and the arm coming out, as Ahmaud Arbery is 50 feet out from the back of the truck. You know, that would be important. So I've been thinking about that, and my slim awareness of the latest event is that some cops, white cop in particular, knelt on a man's neck until he died. But is that more or less it? He fucking, you know, kneecap into the trachea of a human being who was just being detained, and now they're dead? On the heels of the Ahmaud Arbery, hey, two good old boys, you know, hunted and killed a black man in the public street in broad daylight at about noon, and we didn't prosecute for 2 months because, you know, we weren't going to unless it became a story. And then it became a story because one of the good old boys was stupid enough to, like, leak the video that he thought proved his innocence, and would, like, calm things down in his local community where everybody was looking at him like, wow, you really are a piece of shit and raised a piece of shit, didn't you there, George? Is it George? Gregory. It's Gregory McMichael. I got the G right, though. Yeah. So, we're back here. You know, I wouldn't have thought that we would have had time for all this, you know, racist, corrupt police violence in the middle of a pandemic, but if America's good at anything, we can fucking multitask. Apparently, a knee on a throat for 8 minutes. After 6 minutes, the guy was unresponsive and had no pulse. Checked by fellow officer, was only released as paramedics came. Jesus fucking Christ. Well, you know, I'm kind of glad that I wasn't around to you know, I felt the Ahmaud Arbery thing so hard, you know, and scrubbing through all of that footage frame by frame and seeing, you know, a man shotgunned in the street was, so maybe it's a blessing that I have had my head in the sand for the past week. Riots are becoming like Hong Kong riots. Really? Have we, is the National Guard rolling out tanks, and has anyone, like, stepped in front of it and went, no? Because I'm pretty sure in America that would be followed by, and just, they'd roll right over the son of a bitch. Because apparently they don't care. I saw in our Discord server, by the way, that would be, how do you do this with the, if I set my beer down for 3 seconds, if I did Discord? On our Discord server, I saw people chatting about the fact that a journalist was blinded because they were shot with a, you know, peacekeeping rubber bullet, and that the amount of force that various police departments throughout the country are using in response to public protest and, you know, riotous behavior may be a significant human rights violation that the, you know, the world organizations might want to get involved in, possibly censure the United States of America, maybe raise the cost of some tariffs and things, just to be like, hey, fuckers, get your shit together. Hey, I'm all for it. I live here. Go ahead and raise the price of things. Like, whatever has to happen for people to wake the fuck up. Ben VOC, thank you so much for the subscription. That is 3 months going. And Noah Craw is linking a website. Makes you realize how long 8 minutes is of having someone kneel on your crushing your windpipe, apparently. I believe the correct term is murder. Murdered a man. I'm for that, and I don't even know the details, but sounds like it. He didn't even do it according to police procedures, what the police chief of his department said. There's a police procedure for crushing a man's windpipe with your knee? I'm sure there actually is, you know, that's like a hold or, you know, something like that. Yeah, there's a way to do it, and mainly just, you know, That's when you say that 8 minutes 46 seconds is a long time to hold any position. You know, you're talking to a man who has spent hours and hours and hours sat in the same position on a meditation mat, and 8 minutes in a kneeling position, like, you have to just continuously make the effort to stay right there doing exactly what you're doing. And apparently this individual, I haven't seen any footage, I haven't read the stories, but apparently, this individual managed to continuously make the choice to be in a rising level of discomfort whilst kneeling on another human being until they died. So I would guess that it's a pretty, that the rioting and so forth is well deserved. Also, the Amy Cooper video of a Karen being filmed yelling. She's calling the cops, saying an African American is threatening her life. Well, the video shows nothing is happening. She was asked to put a leash on her dog in an area where that is required. Oh, good. Oh, lovely. So everything's just coming out. Is it? Let's see. Roninpawn, I shared that they aren't supposed to even aim at the fucking heads, and ended up, that's the thing is, well, they're rubber bullets, so we can, like, you realize it's still like a bullet, it's got velocity, it's going to travel at a certain speed for a certain distance, and so, especially in a crowded scenario, you squeeze a trigger off, you're basically crossing your fingers that it hits who you're aiming at, because if it doesn't, it's going to hit somebody, isn't it? It's going to hit somebody somewhere who maybe didn't do anything wrong. So maybe just try not, Don't they have fucking hoses for that or something? I mean, it's not better. But, fuck. Especially if they're pulling out the, cause I don't know, I haven't heard anything, but, what are they? The rubber shotgun shells they're called, cause they're not, they're slugs, rubber slugs and things. That's kind of the thing that they usually pull out in riots is we'll have shotguns with rubber slugs. So just like a really big, heavy chunk of something that we can fire at that velocity of a human being. And it probably, we've got at least a 60% chance that they'll live. Human rights are only for the rich in this country. If you can buy them, yeah, indeed. Let's see. The part that's really effed up is the cop had his hand in his pocket and posing for the picture. Really. America is saying the quiet part out loud again. I mean, it just makes me think of, the fact that Trump was elected, because it was like the racist, misogynist, nationalist, scumbag, shithead fucks. I thought they were just on the decline. I thought they were, an old breed that was dying out. Apparently, they've just been quietly biding time, waiting for one of their own to come on television and have news media not, like, turn the cameras off and say, fuck this guy, which they really should have done when he started, saying Mexican immigrants are mostly rapists and murderers, and there are some good ones, though. Like, when you hear a politician speak about a race of human beings and punctuate it with, there are some good ones. I mean, I've got blank, fill in the blank friends. Like, that's time to turn the cameras off and go, okay, we're not going to cover this presidential candidate anymore. But, you'd have to sacrifice your ratings to not cover a openly racist piece of shit. And, potentially save the country from him gaining steam with apparently a whole bunch of other racist pieces of shit who have been lying in wait, waiting for the Overton cycle to complete. And that is a term that I pick up from those I've looked into the terms that they use. Look up the Overton cycle. It was meant to describe, it's a sociology, it's a term from sociology to describe the period in which you cannot talk about a certain thing. For example, in a, puritanical times, you couldn't talk about sex publicly. You couldn't have, you couldn't have had well, every piece of footage that we have on television, YouTube, and everywhere now, because it has so much sex in it. In puritanical, there's an Overton period in which, that describes that period of history in which sex was a non-starter topic. We do not speak of such things publicly. It is not polite. And that term has been hijacked by Klansmen and Nazis to be, that we need to stay quiet and just, be amongst each other and do, quiet recruitment and stuff until the Overton cycle clears and we can be open about our, Hitler youth propaganda ways, until we can actually speak openly about, basically they're waiting for that period that is definitely on the horizon where across the world, everybody, realizes and goes, oh yeah, no, you're right. Jews are in disproportionate positions of power, of course. And yes, blacks are more violent than everyone else, and Mexicans are rapists. And yeah, obviously, they're just waiting until, because it's just a period we're passing through, not a steady evolution of mankind to the point where he stops making judgments of others based on, bullshit that your father, beat into you when you were a kid. It's not that. It's just it's a period. It's a window of time in which we can't have that conversation. Yeah, that period is going to be permanent soon. Paul, try guessing Trump's reaction to this. Let's see if I can't find what Trump's reaction to this would have been. The image that I'm thinking of right now, let me see if I can't show you. Trump, baby, orphan, thumbs up. Image. Is this about it? Is that, yeah, fuck my privacy. I'm okay with it. Whatever. Is that about, Trump's reaction? That was my thought, was that he'd be thumbs up with a nice toothy smile as he stands next to, a baby whose parents had to wrap the child from either side in their bodies as they collected the bullets from a shooter in a Walmart who was, killing black people because he, liked Trump. Basically, you go back to his house and find his diaries, his MAGA hat, and the fucking Nazi flags and shit like that. And and this was how the President of the United States of America responded, standing next to an orphan whose parents had died 48 hours earlier, saving its life. Hey, we did it! Okay. Photo op done. That's what I was thinking, that, Trump's response to, to at least the police brutality would be basically, a repeat of this. There's no group called Anonymous. It is just a brand that individuals, there are groups of hackers using Anonymous as a term, as a flag to fly under. Yeah, you can be anonymous. Anyone can. Just put on a Guy Fawkes mask and a hoodie. Did you see where he walked away from a press conference when he got confronted? What, the 17 dozen times that he's done that? This week, since, I was going to say since taking office, but that would be more 1 month you can get footage of him just, somebody asks him, he goes, journalist from Breitbart? Okay, thank you for the, you can suck my dick while you ask this question, can't you? Okay, journalist from, that bullshit webzine, journalist from a company that my friends work at, okay, and then, you? I don't recognize you. Hi, CNN. So, we gotta go. I'll see you. Oh, real journalist shows up. That's about the end of that one. Trump was in the White House bunker due to fires being set near the White House. Near? Shit, we missed? God damn it, I gotta, hang on. Tony. Yeah, we didn't light the White House on fire? What the fuck, man? No, I don't care how many cops there are. No, you drive that son of a bitch through the fucking fences outside. You know, get somebody in the back seat to just shoot at the Secret Service as you drive right the fuck up. You crash through the side of the Oval Office and then hit the goddamn button. I don't care if you gotta die, Tony. That's what we do. All right. Yeah, say hi to the kids. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm doing a live stream. No, like pepperoni. I mean, I can do pineapple on a pizza, but it's fine. I'm fine with it. I'm not. No, I think my weight is fine. I mean, you know, I'm getting older. Dude, don't bring that. I gotta go, Tony. It's really nice hearing to you. Yep. Okay. All right. Okay. Bye bye. God damn it. My agent's in DC. Fuck. Anyway, hello, Sai. Oh, to walk in on that skit. Anyway, that's Trump, and this is Clustertruck. This is what we were gonna do today, right? We were gonna play some Clustertruck at some point. Didn't know where to go at the end of that skit. I was just waiting for my brain to come up with something, and it couldn't. I'd love any of these to get out of context. I think it was made out of context. I don't know what the fuck that. Holy shit! Did you see how many style points I have? I'm big pimpin'. I'm styling over here. Best intro ever. What is that style point score? That's today's code. If you've been trying to receive the coded messages of the American Freedom Resistance or any of the continental various freedom resistance, this is today's code. I won't be able to say that ever again, but now you'll know. You just use this, and this will decode the message that we embed into the JPEG images and post as memes on Twitter that nobody notices. But, you know, you pull those down, you feed this into, you know, the program that we've distributed, and it will, you know, find the bits and decode them for the message. Just look for something that's got Trump smiling with a thumbs up standing next to a baby. If it's been posted recently, that's going to be one of our coded messages. Use the code 2114 and so on from today. But we're going to... I don't even feel like running Clustertruck. I have too much fun being, I don't know, slightly psychotic. I mean, all right, it's pretty psychotic there. We'll turn on the auto splitter in the background. We'll just confirm that it works, I guess. Roninpawn, what do you think of guns and people who own guns? Well, as a gun owner, as a man who owns shotgun, I would my perspective on it is that there are certain places in this country where, depending on your color or economic status, the police will not come, and in those places the only response you have is to pull your gun. And having said that, my perspective on guns and gun owners is that if the, you know, state and or federal government decided that we're going to ban guns today, I would happily hand them over my shotgun and all of my shells. The quicker that we can, you know, stop killing each other with these fucking... I mean, it's people think of guns way too much like they're just guns. No, what you should think about it is you should imagine that you live in a Harry Potter world, and you have a wand, and it's magic. And this is a really powerful wand that if you point it at someone and you squeeze it a little bit, the other person just dies. You know, people think of guns as, I don't know, a tool, a device, a mechanical thing. But when it comes down to what tends to happen in the streets, it is a magical device that all you need to do is point it at someone and wish them dead, and then they die. That's a lot of power, isn't it? It's an incredible amount of power that maybe you shouldn't have. Like, if I describe that to you, listen, what I'm going to do to you is I'm going to give you the magical ability that, you know, if you really want to destroy someone, all you'll have to do for the rest of your life is point your finger at them and say, die. And they'll just die. They'll just fall over and die. If I offered you that power, would you be immediately confident that you, like, want it? You know, just thinking in the long term, like, can I go the rest of my life without getting incredibly angry at someone, knowing that all I have to do is point my finger out and say, die, and then they're just fucking dead? You know, have you never had an event in your life where you punched a wall out of frustration, where you threw something across the room, where you shouted at someone and said something horrible that you shouldn't have ever said? Because a gun is a finger that you can carry with you at all times, a finger that you point at someone and you say, die, and then they're dead. Potentially, anyway. It has the power. So, you know, just... That's sort of where I come from on guns, is I've got one, and I'm ready to use it against someone, because I live in Detroit, and that's what I have to do. I've been through my own little, you know, terror, riotous, you know, week-long event at my house, and I have learned that if there's someone on the streets who might want you dead, you kill them. And don't think twice about it, because there's no one to call, there's no system that's going to come and save you from it, unless it feels like it. You know, it's going to be a flip a coin, in fact, more like roll a four-sided die. Because that's what we're talking about there in terms of whether or not things are, you know, there's a system that's going to support it. In that instance, I'm going to have to be the one to take care of this. And that is what every person who lives in an impoverished urban environment in America, where there is high crime and high violence and lots of drugs, that is what you learn. And if you were born in one of those environments, then that is what you learn from birth, and it is what life is. You look out on the streets and you see the people who are successful have blood on their hands. The people who are driving, you know, nice vehicles with spinning rims and look as though they're enjoying their lives and, you know, smile and people know them around town are the same people who sell white powder and syringes in the alleys after, you know, at night. Or rather, they're the people who like who tell the other people on the street corners to do that, because the guys who actually sell the drugs don't tend to make a lot of money, but the people up the chain do. Yeah, you learn each day of living in, you know, a poverty-stricken, violent, typically urban, community like Detroit, Chicago, and, you know, certain areas of New York City, although New York City has gotten a lot better than what it used to be. Oakland, California has gotten a lot better than what it used to be, too, but, you know, you learn every day of your life that if you have a problem, if there's someone who steps to you, you need to make it so that they can't step anymore, because they could be, you know, just fronting. They could just be getting in your face for the sake of getting in your face, or they could mean it. And since there's no one to call when something bumps in the night, you know, you wonder why there are 500 gun-related incidents a year and certain, or gun deaths in just one American city every year. Shit like that. Well, it's because that's what you have to do. Because there's no protection of law. There's no safety. You have to make your own safety, and the only way to know that you and your family and the people you care about will not be beset by somebody who's decided that, you know, who's chosen you, you know, not going to come by in the middle of the night and or just drive by from the street and throw a couple of bullets through some windows and cross their fingers somebody gets hit. If you don't want that to happen, then you shoot first and you shoot to kill. And that's what we've all learned. That said, I'm kind of, you know, I think my experience is that I am the perfect example for why the Second Amendment is important and why, you know, citizens need to have the right to bear arms, because where I live, the people don't have the protection of law. And so they need to make their own, and they need to defend themselves. So I am the perfect example. Everybody who lives out in, you know, low, you know, semi-populated, you know, Texas town that talks about, you know, people need to be able to defend themselves against this and that and the other thing. If somebody breaks into my house at night, nobody's breaking into your house at night. Okay? They have broken into my house at night. All right? I've fought them in the fucking streets. I've decided whether or not to plunge a kitchen knife through the chest of a crackhead in my dining room who was trying to beat the woman who had fled to my house behind me. There come, like, your theoretical, hypothetical why you need a gun, I'm the theory, you're the hypothesis. You're thinking about it, I've been there. And as someone who has been there, please, for the love of God, America, take my fucking guns. You know? It's a thing where I'm willing to take that risk of my own personal safety and the safety of the people who I care about who would be here, because it would almost certainly save thousands of lives per year, if not tens of thousands, and reduce the number of events that are not necessarily life-taking, but, you know, injuries and crimes and things. Hearing Europe owning guns sounds surreal. I'm in Italy. If you have a gun, you are a criminal. They screen you before you get a license. Very little people get to own a gun, and who does have to keep it in their vehicle or in their house and can only get marked bullets directly from the police. That is not a bad idea. My friend Greg, pitched the idea a long time ago about just having, like, guns that, like, if you want a gun, okay, here's a gun. Like, if you're going to have guns, and his pitch was strictly for, like, hunting and things, but it would be something like that, the idea of marked bullets. Like, every gun would leave a distinct imprint on, you know, I believe he even went so far as, what if you could just rent guns, you know, for all the hunters and stuff like that, trying to find solutions. You just rent a gun, and the gun has a fucking tracker on it, and it won't operate after a certain amount of time, and you have 6 hours with the gun, and you know, so we know that you've got a gun for this period of time, and then you bring it back, and if you didn't bring it back, then we're coming to fucking get you, you know, something like that. But I like that idea of marked bullets from the police. As a French person, says Seb C, I know I would feel very insecure knowing anyone in the street, especially mentally unstable people, could kill me in an instant. Yes, that would be a good reason why you wouldn't want people to have a finger that they can point at you and just wish you dead, and then you fall over dead, which is the situation so long as guns are rampant in the streets. What if you get mugged outside of your home or car, though? In terms, how is this? Ron Sinante the horse. Is that like, who's the guy who you know, went at windmills? Don Quixote? Is Ron Sinante? Was that like the name of the horse or something? If other people have guns, they can do something about it. Yes, they can, and then you can get people who are not police officers shooting back and forth at each other in the street, making decisions that, as is evident by the most recent scenario causing all of these riots, not even the police can responsibly make consistently. So, yeah, like, you don't get vigilante justice, you don't get, you know, how am I going to protect myself from someone? It's the argument that, if guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns, and that is true. And I'll put that bumper sticker on my car, because to me that means, you know, when guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. Only criminals will have guns, which means that if you find someone with a gun, you prosecute them, and you take their gun away, and you put them away for a longer time than they would have been for whatever else they were doing while they had the gun, which is something that we already kind of do. But if, you know, having the gun itself had a pretty heavy fine, like, when outlaws are the only ones who have guns, that's how you remove guns from the population. Slowly, over time. You know, the criminals will still have guns, yes. But, you know, there will be substantively less guns out there, and over time, we will be able to recollect those guns and take them back. That said, I don't think it's a nationwide policy that would work. My own, like, if I were a politician, my policy would be that the Second Amendment needs to just go away. And no other federal legislation comes down the works. Just get rid of the Second Amendment and leave federal legislation on what, you know, the minor limits that the federal government has put on fully automatic military-grade weaponry and things. They're reasonable, so you can leave those alone. Just throw the Second Amendment away. Because then you would allow the states of the Union to do what they felt was best for themselves. And that would allow for the states to experiment based on their desire and their need. You know, Texas, probably already have their own version of the Second Amendment in their Constitution. They're going to keep their guns. That's fine, you know. If they don't feel that they have a problem, that populace, they don't have a problem, then good. Go ahead. in Michigan, we have a big hunting industry. We have, there's far more of Michigan. I talk about Detroit here and about southeast Michigan because that's my experience. But you get out of that metro Detroit area and Michigan turns into a lot of like natural open forest and, deer, and like there's a lot of hunting grounds here. We have a very strong hunting population in Michigan outside of the urban centers. And Michigan would be, that kind of place where there would be, you need the states to be able to experiment to see what works for them. You can't just say, well, we need to have the right to have guns, so we will completely ignore the hundreds of people who are murdered every year with guns or who die to guns just in one city, just in the city of Detroit. More gun deaths in the city of Detroit than there are days in the year. You can't just ignore that. You want to do something legislatively about that. And if the citizens of Michigan want to preserve their right to have, weapons to hunt with or something like that, then, you come together, you have a conversation, you figure it out. Do we, maybe, who needs handguns then? If it's about hunting, we want the hunting industry to thrive, we want to maintain those traditions, then, hunting weapons, rifles, shotguns, things like that, okay. But having, a small device that you can conceal and then pull out, point at someone and say, die, and they die, maybe not. Maybe we, every state could choose on its own terms what the citizenry itself and their elected representatives felt was the most reasonable way to address whatever issues that they have with guns. So long as the Second Amendment is still in place, the states cannot legislate to decide what is best for them as individuals. And so you just throw out the Second Amendment. You don't say that you don't make a law at the federal level saying no one gets to have guns. You don't make any laws. You just take that one away. In other words, you take the handcuffs off of local government, off of the citizenry's government at the state level, and let them, let the individual people who live there decide what is best. That's my actual real world, politics policy on it. My feelings are, if we could get everybody to say, if there was a law that says give up your guns, I would give up my guns. Just to be part of that movement to make America not, a place where you have to duck. To make it so that while I'm sitting in my living room, I don't hear someone emptying a clip. Just, every now and again. I don't, in the middle of the night, my ears perk up because, oh, that was fully automatic, wasn't it? That was, yeah, that was, oh, there was definitely a shotgun. No, maybe it was a large caliber rifle. That's my life living in Detroit. The people who are dying, their plight can't be ignored on the virtue of, well, we've got an idea about this, that, the other thing, we're gonna keep our guns, we've got a philosophy, so we're gonna ignore how many people die because of that philosophy. What you want is the freedom for people to try and fix things. And with the Second Amendment being what it is, the federal body demanding that the states, maintain the rights of their citizenry to always own guns, regardless of how bad things are in your states or in your cities, that's fucked up. I mean, that is one of those places where, as a raving mad socialist, I start to sound libertarian there. States should have the right to decide what works best for them, because it's a huge country, and Montana does not have the same gun control problems that, New York does. And I mean the state of New York. California does not have the same problems that, Illinois has in Chicago. So make your own choice. Let the states do what they're going to do. And of course, you've heard me say it before, and I see a lot of things being posted in chat that I'm just, getting my piece out here. You've heard me say it before. In terms of the Second Amendment protecting the people's rights to, you maintain your arms because then you have the ability to overthrow the government by force as needed. And my response to that is, you think you're gonna... They got Abrams tanks and fucking Apache helicopters and drones from miles away. You can't even see them, and they'll launch a missile at your house, fly right down your fucking chimney and blow you up. You think you're gonna... With some guns? Oh, that's sweet. How sweet. American Revolution, if it comes to that, will not be won with guns. It will be won with bombs, and it will be won with ideas and you know, convincing people. And if there were a government that became hostile toward the populace the way that we're kind of seeing now, but I mean became truly hostile toward the populace and tried to use the military against the people, then that revolution would be won by turning the military, you know, back to the side of the people. Because at the end of the day, you know, they're the guys with guns. The people in Washington want them to do something, and if you shatter the illusion of this is patriotic or something and just force people to look at what they're doing, like, it's not going to be won by the guns. It's not going to be won because you've got a fucking shed in the back where you keep an illegal, you know, RPG that you cobbled together from pieces at the you know, local gun stores. It's going to happen with fucking fire and bombs and undermining economics and taking out the right people. You know, it's not going to be that, well, we all need guns, like no, what we'll need is like 6 people with sniper rifles is what we'll need, and a lot of other people with thermite. That's what you know, the Second Amendment is not preserving our ability to overthrow the government by force, because with or without the Second Amendment, we could not overthrow the government by force, if the American military was on their side. But we rely substantively on the idea that our soldiers are, although not always a body of reasonable men, are a body of, you know, reasonable men. That not every man in there is a reasonable individual, but that there are more that can be reasoned with than not, and that there is a point at which you recognize, if I take these orders, I'm going to wind up, you know, in Nuremberg trying to explain myself. I mean, the most successful coups and revolutionary actions of the past 100 years have all been protests that were centered not at bringing violence toward those who were making violence, but at standing in the way and letting them kill you. Those were the protests that actually made things happen, where it was not about taking the lives that you needed to take to win the day, but about laying your life down, which has a very functional, very like pragmatic end of that, is that you are demoralizing your enemy. You are not resisting, you are not raising arms against them, and whoever has the order to go and quiet that, who decides that we're going to open fire on it, every soldier who opens fire on a group of people who are just locking arms and, you know, chanting, "We are the world," every soldier who puts a bullet into someone in that chain, you know, they have to sleep at night, and it's going to be harder. And that's like the very, like, just functional, pragmatic what's going on in a peaceful resistance. But when you're willing to lay your life down, I mean, the things that apparently we're seeing that I haven't followed, but that apparently everyone else has, is exactly what we're talking about there, you know? An innocent person, or a person who is not deserving of death, is killed in the street, because I don't know what the details of that case are, by a hostile military police force. What happens? The people fucking get out on the streets and start marching and shit. You know, it's, when you're ready to lay your life down, you can make changes. When you're ready to take life, you know, there's some changes you can make, but it's not as powerful. You don't have as much power as the man who's willing to die, is the thing. So there's been a lot of things said in chat, and I like seeing that. I like seeing you guys, like, you know, it's arguing or just having conversations in chat, being engaged, and really, like, yes, it shows me that people are passionate about this. So I really want to know how to say Roninpawn the horse. Am I close? That's true in, like, MLK and Gandhi, it did work, but in other cases, like with the British government and czars, peaceful protests won't work. Definitely there are situations, but it really comes down to, we now live in a world that is really, like, we are media connected constantly. So when that footage comes out, and it will, you know, everybody's got a fucking camera in their pocket in the form of their cell phone. When the footage comes out of a tank rolling over a crowd of protesters, when, you know, the footage is seen of the white cop kneeling on a man's windpipe for 8 minutes. You know, when that circulates, every eye that sees that is, you know, does 1,000 times what a bullet does, because it turns the tide of public opinion, it turns the tide and the hearts of people, and it gets other people, like, ready to do more and out in the street, and maybe eventually, like we're seeing in America, the riots, maybe ready to fucking fill a glass bottle with some gasoline, put a rag down there, light her up, and fucking chuck it. You know, every time that you see an innocent person die to a hostile police state, you know, people fucking get angrier and they get up. I mean, I feel like I've spent most of my life just waiting for people to get angry enough, because I've been angry for a long time, and I've been you know, that's the most heart-wrenching part of, like, seeing how America has gone really since 9/11. I mean, it has really, that was the turning point at which we were trending even, and maybe even, you know, like, upward a little bit. And after 9/11, man, everything just turned into, you know, solve every problem with a carpet bombing. You know, somebody's problem, shoot them. That was a big fucking turning point for us. And I feel like, you know, I have been waiting for a very long time for people to get as angry as I was back in the George W. Bush administration, where they launched a fucking military strike against, you know, Baghdad, against people. Not military targets, against people. And dropped bombs. They told us these are smart bombs and we're attacking military targets, and 95% of those smart bombs that they showed were able to, you know, fly down a fucking chimney and explode if they wanted to. 95%, as reported by the by the Free Press, by the American, 95% of those smart bombs all hit, like, neighborhoods, schools, mosques, apartment buildings. You know, the whole, that whole event was a fucking lie, and it was just an excuse for military contractors to do what they were doing, and, you know, a good way to make America feel like you want to feel at the end of an action movie, you know? They wanted the towers falling to be Act 2 of the summer movie, and they needed an Act 3 where the good guys win. So, in order to manufacture that, we sent our military forces to about as literally the other side of the world as you can get, to kill a bunch of people who had... Did you know any of them? Did you have anything against them? You know? Hundreds of thousands went through Abu Ghraib, and lots of people spent years in prison because their neighbor said, I think that guy's a terrorist. And that's all it took. In the military state that America established in Iraq, was for somebody to say, you know, somebody decide that their neighbor hasn't been trimming their hedges, so I'm gonna go over to this MP over here and say, hey, that guy's a fucking... I think I heard him talking about Bin Laden or something like that, and then boom, that guy's in Abu Ghraib for the next 3 years of their life, waiting for a process that wasn't really ever, you know, working to exonerate them. But, you know, no court, no innocence until proven guilty. 3 years in a fucking tent in the desert. And I saw, as it's moving off the screen now, so I want to respond to, or I want to at least read, Chris T. Pratt did a highlighted message. The protests are not about the death of George Floyd anymore. They are about the countless wars, bad healthcare system, or the lack of it, awful education system which has been destroying the U.S. and out it from the highest country of the world to just a mediocre country. And I get it. I get what you're saying there. And if that's true, if that's the case, then we have arrived. Good. Literally, my dad was the first person to tell me about the George Floyd incident on the phone, and said, I'm sure you know about this, because, you know, as involved as I was in the Ahmaud Arbery, you know, stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't know about it. And he told me about that, and then said, apparently they've already, like, burned down the police precinct where, you know, the officers were, you know, where the officer responsible. And I was just like, yes, good. Like, that was my immediate response. Excellent. That's, yeah. Bring it home. Bring it home to the people who actually fucking deserve it. Hells yeah. Roninpawn, well, I disagree with things you say. I appreciate you allowing things like this being talked out, says Ron Shinante the horse, and I hope I'm saying that right. I really like the way that I'm pronouncing it. Probably the C is not a sh, but I like it that way. You let me know if it bothers you. Sorry, my internet went out. What were you talking about, Roninpawn? Oh, I don't know. Establish socialism. Burn the world. I mean, hey, restart humanity. Reboot. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in again? You know, human society, I mean. We've been here for an hour. We haven't touched Clustertruck, and I love that. That's my favorite kind of a stream, you know? And we've been talking about this kind of thing. Amazon just delivered my package. Ooh, timing is perfect for a live stream break. Timing is perfect for a live stream break. I got a package waiting for me on the porch, and I have some urine waiting to be delivered to, it's kind of a thing. I keep this little, it's got water in it, and it's sort of a bowl, and that's where I put my urine when I'm done with it, you know, just for good storage. And then, so I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to see my package, and we're going to take a 7-minute live stream break. And when we come back, we'll keep chatting about the end of, you know, the world and the beginning of the good world. Because that's what we could do. Could have done it a while ago. But, you know, once the shit is out of the way, once you've burnt down the vines that have been entangling the doors to the rooms that don't suck, well, then we could actually start moving into the parts of this building that aren't covered in black mold and the blood and feces of millions dead. We could do that. Maybe we'll talk about that, or maybe we'll just run Clustertruck, or, you know, maybe I'll bring back some of my pee, just so you could, because I'm gonna be doing it anyway, so I'll bring some back, and then you can tell me, is it too yellow? Is it too clear? Am I drinking too much water? Not enough? You know, we'll taste it. We'll find out if it's, with 7-minute live stream break, don't go anywhere, Pawn not out. Hello, I am the Roninpawn. Welcome back to twitch.tv/Roninpawn livestream on twitch.tv/Roninpawn. We're talking about the end of civilization, the world, and everything. 42? 43? Somewhere around there. Hey, Pawn, why are you here and not out rioting? I got tired. I wanted to take a break, you know? And it was costing a lot of bail money this past week. So, you know, fuck it. There's other people. I left them in charge. They'll do fine. My lieutenants know, you know, what to do, and there's a couple of them that I really shouldn't have put in charge, but fuck, these people deserve it. You know, the institutional fucking... I don't know, I'm ranting now about it, as I'm still playing with that concept that this is my doing. You're welcome. Yo, Pong, you gonna do more any percents of something, Max? I am indeed going to do some more any percent. We might even run some today. But what did I say? Just before I went away to live stream break, I saw in chat someone saying, you know, I disagree with the way that, you know, they're rioting out there. And, you know, I wanted to say something about that because I felt the same for the longest time, and the reason why I disagreed with the way that, you know, when riots occurred, because there's been several in my day, the way that they were rioting was because, like, they've got there's finally a popular, like, anger that has boiled to the point where people are going to go out and break laws and take matters into their own hands, and the energy of that is being wasted. I didn't disagree with the fact that they were out there, but I disagreed with, you know, the fact that they're doing what they're doing, which I'm going to assume, because it is a riot, that even though I haven't seen the coverage, because I've just been enjoying the past week while everything has been falling apart, I've been having a lovely time. Because I did not, blissfully unaware. But I'm going to assume, without knowing, that the riot has involved things like people smashing the windows on storefronts, many of which are probably low. I want to beat you is something, Max. Thank you for the 2 months subscription. You want to beat me at any percent? Did you already beat me and I have to beat you in order for you to beat me again? Or how does that... how does that work? Because I've been out of the loop for a bit. Widespread looting, Sister Mason. That's what I was getting to. I assume it involves people smashing windows of businesses, some of which are small mom and pop shops, local stores, you know, not big corporate things, and hopefully some big corporate things as well, and then climbing through the windows, taking what they want from the shop, and, you know, running out with televisions, microwaves, and all sorts of appliances here down at the Roninpawn Emporium of Loot. And I assume that that's the sort of thing that's been going on, because that is a riot. And the reason I wanted to say this was because I had seen in chat someone saying I disagree with the way that they're rioting. And I used to feel that way, and now, you know, what I've come to realize is that if they were doing it another way, it wouldn't be rioting. You know, like, if instead of breaking out windows and taking, you know, things from mom and pop stores alongside, if it wasn't, like, random and violent and immediate and emotional, then it wouldn't be a riot. You know, if they were breaking out the windows of a Walmart and then rushing in with masks on, you know, carrying, like, leaving trails of gasoline and then shouting, "Get out of the building, everybody!" and making sure that everybody got out, and then they lit the place on fire after it was clear, that's not a riot. That is a planned, you know, guerrilla warfare action at that point. And so the idea of saying I disagree with the way that they're rioting, that there's looting involved in everything, has come to mean to me it's a silly thing to say, and this is why I'm bringing it up, because I used to say it too. But I think it's a silly thing to say because it's like saying I wish, you know, they're not, like, this fight were more civil. I wish that this argument, you know, being angry at someone for something horrible that they shouted at you in the middle of a verbal fight. Like, why can't we just, you know, have a civil discourse? Well, because it's come to this. Because we've had all of these opportunities to have a civil discourse, and maybe one party or both has tried to have that conversation and it just couldn't get legs, or maybe, you know, one person was just trying to not have to, you know, maybe it'll just resolve itself, and they just been trying to not, and so there's been no, like, actual talking about it. By the time that you are shouting at each other and saying the horrible things that you just know will, like, get under their skin and make them feel like, you son of a bitch, you know that my father was a, you know, or whatever it is, you know, you throw that shit out during a fight, to say that, you know, they're fighting wrong no, it's a fight. that's the characteristic of a fight, you know? We may call it a fight when two pugilists climb into a boxing ring and do that, but that's a sporting event. It is pugilism. It's not a fight. Fights happen in the street, and they happen now, in the immediate, no planning, just like here, and you react with emotion and violence, and it's, you know, so to say I disagree with the way that they're rioting is like, you can't disagree with the way that someone riots, because it is a riot. It is a mass of emotional and intellectual energy that has been building and building, and it's gone unaddressed. It is the conversation that is not being had. It is you shouting at the top of your lungs that things need to happen and no one listening, things need to change, and it finally bursts out, and it is that knock down, drag out, tear out fight where it's just, it's gonna be what it's gonna be now. We had a chance to do this, you know, in a mindful way, but we didn't do that, so now here we are. I don't disagree with any rioting, because if it's a riot, then it's a riot. How can you disagree with it? Like, it wouldn't be what it is. It doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not people waiting at home just going, God, I can't wait until there's another good riot. I really want to upgrade to a 64-inch television. Like, no, it is a civil unrest. It is a population. It's populations of human beings who have been shit on since the beginning of history, just for, you know, who have all their lives known nothing other than being second and third class citizens, and always multiple layers of glass ceiling. Oh, I'm black. I'm a woman and I'm black. Oh, I'm a woman and I'm black and I'm poor, and just this glass ceiling lower and lower and lower. You know, because it is that emotional level of like release of tension, it's just going to come out the way it's going to come out. You know, it's like saying, I wish that bomb hadn't exploded so violently. Well, then it wouldn't be a bomb and it wouldn't be exploded. It'd be a controlled detonation. It's a completely different thing. A riot is a riot. And, you know, to say, I can't believe they're out there looting. Really? So poor people, angry at a system that economically oppresses them, finally get out in the streets and start smashing shit up. And you can't believe that they're running in and taking the objects and properties and the things that they haven't been able to have because the world has built it such that they're not, you know, they can't have that. You don't see that, like, they're running in and grabbing the television, maybe not because they want a 72-inch screen, you know, on their wall, but because they know that they can sell that for the money to pay the fucking mortgage and feed their kids after this is done. Like, it's not... It's selfish, and it's angry, and it's violent, and it's just going to be whatever it's going to be. But there's no, like, arguing that this should be done better. Well, if it should be done better, then it's you know, get out there and organize yourself a underground guerrilla military revolutionary force quietly for, you know, decades. And then when you're ready, start making precision strikes in an effort to release, to take hold of that emotional, you know, fucking blockage that exists for every shit upon human being across the world, and make it productive, as opposed to making it just a splattering release that will have, you know, it's not going to not be productive, but it means there's going to be a lot of fucking people caught in the blast and in the crossfire and in the explosion. A riot is a riot. I don't say anymore that I disagree with how they're rioting, because it's a riot, and at the very, you know, I'm just happy that people are physically manifesting what goes unsaid, what passes for normal in, you know, just in the world, in humanity's creation on this little blue ball spinning around. Because, yeah, it had to come out, and I hate it, you know, for some reason, it reminds me of Obamacare, of when Obama, you know, came in and pushed that Obamacare. I was really pissed off at that. A lot of people benefited from Obamacare. It made a bad situation a little bit better. There's a lot of good things you could say about Obamacare. I was pissed off because it was the tiniest amount of pressure that you could let out of the valve. But it was enough to lower the pressure so that it didn't explode. You know, we were at that point in that election, like, all of America was on board for the healthcare system has to fucking change. This is goddamn ridiculous. And a lot of people voted for Obama in his first election because he said, I'm going to fix healthcare. Didn't tell you how, which is why I didn't vote for him, because I was sure if he wasn't willing to talk about it, that wasn't a good idea, but and other reasons. Even though, he's looking back, absolutely the man for the job, but I picked a socialist candidate, someone who truly represented, like, who was saying the things that I wanted them to say that Obama wouldn't say. But, what that plan was basically just enough of a turn on the valve to let out that pressure that had been building, that if there wasn't anything done, it all would have exploded. And had it exploded, we would have had to, like, replace it entirely. And I would have preferred it to explode than to have someone come along and let out 30 pounds of pressure so that the system can hold for another 30 years, because it's just enough pressure that, like, people will feel like, well, at least they did something. And the pressure that I'm talking about is the pressure that, is that stress that just is carried by American citizens when I'm talking about the healthcare system in our country. I'm talking about America. It's that stress amongst the populace that builds and builds and builds and builds, and then you get to a point of, like, all right, we can turn this big ship that we haven't been able to turn because we've got so much energy of hate, so much energy of dissatisfaction so uniformly spread. We finally got the energy to, like, move this massive carrier that doesn't want to turn. We can turn it now. And then someone comes along and does a little and takes away just enough pressure that you can't, all you can do is get just a little bit this direction, instead of the kind of massive changes that we needed. So, like, I think of that in terms of, like, a riot as well. A riot is lamentable in that it vents, it is the pressure valve being opened, and it's opened all at once, and it goes everywhere. And because it goes everywhere in an uncontrolled manner, and you lose all that energy that you could have used to turn the big ship. You lose a lot of it anyway, but I still, at the same time, I celebrate it because at least people fucking got there, at least people are out there taking action against the actions that are taken against them on a fucking moment-to-moment basis, in the halls of government and in the boardrooms and the CEOs and the economic policies and the media policies and, like, all of the decisions that are made, but over and over again, that are, they're not racist, they're not misogynist, they're not classist. They're just all of those things. They are all of those things. But you hide them underneath, the idea, listen, we're just doing what's best for our, wallet. Oh, okay. Well, then it's fine if, hundreds of thousands of people suffer and die because of your manufacturing facilities, because of the way that this works. If their entire town, 600,000 people live in the city of Detroit and most of them can't get the police to come when they call them, that's okay. And it's not racism. It's just, the city doesn't have the money, because the city spent the money on buying a billionaire a sports stadium. But it's not racism. It's just we're making decisions to make rich people richer while, a poor, primarily Black and Hispanic population of Detroit, suffers. But it's not racism. It's just that we have chosen to value, white, powerful, rich people more than the citizens that just happen to be Black and Hispanic. But it's not racism. And it's not classism. It's just this, we're trying to get the money so that we can help the people of Detroit, so that we buy them the stadium, and then maybe we'll, like, it's all, but it's not this, but it's not this, but it's not this. Even though it is. I'm not doing what I'm not doing right now, Because I tell you I'm not doing it. Because I tell you that my reasons are not those, though, so it matters. No, it doesn't matter. Like, what matters is, your behavior. What matters is who is hurt and who is helped. And you can tell me that, well, I've got these reasons for it. Doesn't matter. If the people are still bleeding to death in the street, if you've still got your knee on the man's trachea 8 minutes later, I'm not interested in what your reasons are. You're going to tell me it wasn't about this, it wasn't about that, it wasn't the other thing, I was just this, I got distracted, or it doesn't fucking matter. You murdered someone. They're still dead. So give me your reason again. as though it matters at all. And the city of Detroit and the nation of America and many others of the world under these various systems they have a knee crushing their windpipe, and it's been there for about 4 or 5 minutes, and we've got about a minute left where we can breathe. So yeah, fucking riot. I'm all for it. Are you a Democrat or a Republican? Ooh, I don't know who you're asking, TBH Elite, but I would identify politically if, I always say socialist. It just seems to represent, at least in this modern, what socialism seems to mean in modern American terms. That's what I'm for. And it's, the people's government using the people's power to do what's best for the people. Caring for the welfare of all people and not just those who were born into good scenarios, who were, whose parents were good parents to them, whose education system locally was, gave them opportunities, not just the ones who had the advantages of life, but, everyone. Lift from the bottom as a general principle, instead of trying to, make the top higher and higher. That's where I come from. When the system of law and law enforcement utterly and consistently fails a population, that population has no reason to uphold or abide by those laws. Have two choices to return to peace: listen and actually take steps to fix the system that led to the outrage in the first place, or go full mask-off fascist and call in the military. And if you do, that, I feel, is in our future, that there is a day, maybe not soon, but there is a day in America, the way that things seem to move around, the way that our culture seems to be trending. I believe that there is a day in our future where the government sicks the military on the people in ways that, as we are seeing right now, the news media and world organizations are saying that's human rights violations, and no. But importantly, what I want to say about that is I feel like there is that moment in our future, and in our future there is a moment where our military is fractured, because there will be a large contingent of, National Guard and actual, Army and military and naval service people who say, fuck you, no, and don't take the order. And I'm looking forward to that day. It's going to be, there's a lot of bad things that are going to happen on that day, but it's the beginning of hope again. I mean, I'm already feeling like good hope. When COVID settled in, I was like, okay, we've got a chance, which is fucking weird to say about a global fucking pandemic, but that's how fucked up I feel, our global society is right now, is that this is good. This is going to weaken infrastructure. This is going to weaken commercial, our corporatist environment. It's going to make it so that the things that everybody believes are so big and so huge and have been doing what they do for so long that they can't possibly be changed, can be changed, because they're going to have to be changed. We've already seen checks sent out, to stimulate the economy. We've already basically seen, the concept of guaranteed minimum viable basic economic income, a socialist policy platform that's happened once, and from what I hear, it might happen a second time. And my personal experience with that, amongst my circle of friends, without even invoking me, is that everybody who got that check used it to kill a old debt, either on credit or, medical debt. These are my friends I'm talking about, and get out from underneath things that have been weighing them down for years, that would have kept weighing them down, and that were costing them $1,000 or more each year just in interest, not paying down the principal to any significant number. $1,000 per year. And these are the kind of that's $80 a month or something, that is a economic pressure on you that you don't, 80 of the dollars that you have to go out and earn with your fucking sweat and blood and tears every day, that at the end of the day, all it does is go to make some asshole who let you borrow some money at some point, or who did, a procedure on you to save your life, and then was you know, that's just going out to make, you know, rich people richer. That's just going out to make people who don't need it have more. And yeah, that's how that has worked out. It's like, can we, you know, maybe we all start to see that now. Maybe we all start to see that how, like, a $1,200 check has changed so many people's, like, worlds for the better. I mean, there were a lot of people who just didn't have any income and didn't have anything to back it up, but, you know, where the systems were working, where unemployment was paying out, where a myriad of systems, too, for small, like, independent business owners who are not employees, who file their taxes differently, who also got, you know, that version of unemployment where those systems worked and they were able to float and, you know, pay their bills across those months, and then a $1,200 check comes in. It's like, holy shit. $1,000 is the difference between whether I put my head on the pillow at night and go to sleep, or I lie in bed with twisted knots in my belly because I don't know, you know, if I'm going to be economically solvent for the next month. So thank you very much, TDH Elite, for the cheer there. Talking about being raised Catholic and stuff. I'm, you know, I say my piece and I look over and I scroll a little bit and see if there's anything I really want to respond to. After the mic, what do you got to him, Mr. Bono? What is it that they say that, before I fix it? I'm going to fix it now. What is it they say? Destroy! Destroy! Destroy. Is it destroy? Robot. Restart the audio engine. Sound like I swallowed a vibrate. Well, I got it out, though. It's important to get it out once you've got it in. Welcome to Clustertruck. I reset the mic. Okay, so is this working? That's working. You should be working. I'll hit the reset button, and I have not... Oh, well, actually, there's things we gotta do. We're gonna turn the timer on in the lower corner. We're going to reset. We're going to go out to 910. Load this level up because it takes a minute. You see how it freezes. Takes a couple of seconds. We don't want that to come up in a good speed run, but then I don't expect to get a good speed run today. Thank you, Something Max. And Frackle gifting 5 subs. Creature Comforts, TBH Elite, Sergeant Penguido, Memes Lord, and Salty Pasta. Welcome to the Big Dick Club. Roninpawn, trademark, patented. There's no trademark, there's no patent, and I don't call it that every day because it's kind of stupid. But I like some stupid sometime. I smell a good run, not quite PB though. I haven't touched the game since I touched the game last, so I may not even remember how to play the... Oh my god, it looks so different to my eyes. Yeah, that was a 7.1. Okay. Can I get some of my skizzles back here? Boom, boom, boom. Nice. Nice for 7.3. And then off of 1.3, we're going to try and get some speed right there. Come across to you. Lean in. Damn it. Lean into the side of that truck, get a nose grind, and pop up and straight to goal. Let's go. So here's some, like, less political, you know, just good news and everything. The Clustertruck leaderboards and our moderators have started that we now have IGT on the leaderboards in-game time, which is, you know, something that I've been working on with my auto splitter for a long time, trying to create something that would enable us to record IGT. Wow, that was a 6-1. That was very nice. And so that we could have fairer times on the leaderboards, because as it stands, as it stood anyway, god damn it. Hey! Just the second one, and I got the PPTV. As it stood, it was pretty effed up that if you have the faster computer, you pretty routinely had the faster run out of the other runners. And that's because of the time that it takes between the levels here. I click the next, you know, we finish the level, we go to that white screen, shit, this white screen, and then I click the next level button. And depending on how fast I click that button, as well as how fast my computer is, and how much load my computer is under, I forget how I've been doing 1.7, so I'm dying on it and looking bad. depending on the computer itself, thank you, it will take longer to load that next click. Even if you're clicking the next level button like perfectly on every one, you just hit it immediately and you're just killing it. Doesn't necessarily matter because there's going to be, you know, potentially up to like 0.3 of a second added by the fact that your computer's slower than the next guy's, which means competing, ooh, that's a nice one, competing especially in the segments in the game, I'm just gonna go straight to this one, has been a bit unfair to people who, you know, play Clustertruck on a potato, as opposed to someone who's got a strong computer, or someone like me, in fact, who may have a strong computer, but by the time I set everything up to live stream and do it all the way that I want it, there's a lot of load here. There's a lot of load here. I think this is one of the ones we were going to add a PPTB to instead at the very beginning. We have to look into that. 2.5? Okay. So, just in putting in some IGT support, because there's been a couple of runs that have been retimed to IGT, we already have some new, like, some ranks changing place and things. I had 3rd place in sci-fi in the segments and no ability percent, I think. And I now, I now have 2nd place. So there is a meaningful and significant change, especially in the just individual worlds by IGT, and the same applies for, I'm just going to wait it out, same applies for the full game. By the end of any given run, any given my run, I leave a little bit over a minute. Shit. A little bit over a minute in time just to having been on those, wow, on those next level screens. Either waiting for my computer to load or just being slow on clicking the next level button. And someone who has a faster computer might only leave, like, you know, 40-some seconds. And if I'm leaving over a minute, that's 20 seconds faster that I have to run than the next guy while I'm in the level to actually be acknowledged as being the better runner, or, you know, to win the slot that I've earned by technique and by running the levels well, but that I haven't earned if it is by virtue of... Hang on. Yes! If it is by virtue of who gets through to the end level faster, because their PC's bad. So it's been really nice to see that that's being used, and the moderators are using my my video analysis end of the auto splitter that I've been developing in order to do that, and it has given me a good reason to start focusing on certain parts of development that will make their job as moderators that much easier and will enable them to retime more levels, more recordings. Some recordings don't have the same qualities as the others, and my code needs to account for that in ways that have been on the docket, but that I haven't been doing anything about. 3.5. Yes! First try at 3.5. Alright. 30 seconds behind. It's fine. We're warming up. I'm willing to run on a 30-second loss right here. Shit. Double shit. I'm just gonna go from you. I think I got enough lev, and I was going so slow through the opening of that level. 3.8. Let us go. Bing, bing, and then 3.9. Oh, 3.9. Yeah, holy shit, that was a good one. Oh my god, what a PTB. Now, 3.10. One that I can't psych it out, I can't juke it, I just gotta run it like a good speedrunner. And I did. And I did. Bing, bing, bing. And we're into the beginning of some really bullshit laser RNG. Yeah! God damn it. I avoided like 2 or 3 of them in a row and still just couldn't get a path that would avoid the last one. Shit! Get me out of here. Thank you. 4-2. Let's go really, really fast, shall we? Yes! That's good and fast. Alright, 12.2 out of there. 4-3. To you. To you. Round the outside. Land it. Damn it. I've got like 3 different ways to go through it, and that just giving up some of the time is the most consistent of them. Ah, I fucked that up. Alright, just stay alive and walk it in, pawn. 4, 5. Didn't try it. Should not try it. But I did. I'm way the fuck up here. I gotta get lucky and not get hit by a laser right here. We're good. The lasers are invisible out there, but they're still there and they can still kill you. 4, 6. And over. Down to you. No, I'm not gonna make it under. It's trying to do the under, it's faster, but fuck it. 4, 7. Let's go. Little rub. Kick me forward. Up to you. Ooh, we got the relatively straight line of trucks there, too, which is unlikely and very good when you see it. But I don't need it, because I'm not in no ability percent right now. I'm just gonna take this easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. That's not... That might have been enough. Shit. Shit, I didn't think I had it. I didn't come into it the way that I wanted to, and I assumed that I had fucked it up, but it was okay, I think. Reset as we come into 410. And run it, run it, run it, run it. Pop! Right up and out. To the right. And in the goal. And into World 5. Yeah! Yeah! I'm gonna need you to slow down in midair for that one. Bang, bang. 5-2. If I can get the speed off of you. Okay. Okay, 8 point something. 8.1. Now 5-3. Nice. And we're in. 5-4. Fuck! Just trying to route through him. I mean, I did not see him flipping. I just couldn't see a place where I could get past him. Alright, 5-5. This one's nasty. I don't like this one at all. Yeah! Can't tell you why I don't like it. You saw how nice it treated me there. 5-6. Just a mega jump. Oh, that's a brilliant one. It's very quick, too. That's a sub 7. 5-7 now. Gonna try and go up and over the castle wall with a mega jump. Did not get enough of it. I'm just gonna wait it. Take the pop. And then see what trucks still exist for me to work my way to goal with. Now 5-8, another mega jump. This one goes straight to goal. I got a nice big one there. Just lev my way in for an 8.1, now 5-9. Woo! I didn't need to do that. Okay. Bear that in mind for later if you can get that speed pawn. Stop here. Turn. Come on out. Get hit. Oh, that's a good hit. I want to be on this side of things. Lev me past. And into the goal. Alright, 6-1. Need to throw higher. Need to throw higher. It's kind of the wrong direction, but with the speed that it gave me, maybe. Yes! Oh, that's so close, too. Ah, shit. Nope, pawn. Alright, just try and run it. You're well behind the cycle now. Fuck me. Fuck. I'm not... Apparently I don't remember how to do this level. It's a bit of a tricky one. It's the first one that involves movement like that, so... What you gonna do? We still caught up to PB pretty fucking well coming into World 6, apparently, so I'm happy with the times we've got right now. You did this wrong, pawn. Yes, I see that now. Okay, I made it work anyway. 6-5? Nope, wrong level. I thought I had to jump out to the side. That's the next one or the one after that. Okay. Hit. Straight to goal. Losing time on just being out of practice. Click the button. And to not clicking the button. It's another place. Go. 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 We're in. 6-7. Little rub on the left here. Keeps me low. Which means I fall a little bit faster. And steer it in. Put it in the goal into Tilty World. 6-8. I just want a mega jump from the middle, right up here. That'll take me all the way to goal. This is, I think, no ability viable, too, if you worked a little bit. For a nicely fast time without having to take all of the risk. Of the other no ability methods. And 6-10. Come on out. I'm gonna hover a little bit here. Very nice. Now, 7-1. I think I got the speed. Yeah, we good. We very good. Starting out World 7 strong. I'm into 7-2. I'm just gonna jump to the outside and fall it. I'll take the 11-1. Instead of trying for anything, because I'm a little bit out of practice. Are you going to be playing chess with Nakamura? Of course. What those words mean? Why would you think that I would do anything other than chess with Nakamura? That's what I'm gonna do. It's what I've always done. You know me and my Nakamura chess. Fuck. This is not an easy level. But we put it in. 7-4. Okay, I'm well out of my usual sequence. Oh, shit. Can I stay alive and hit it? I can, and I did. 7-5. Didn't need that truck anyway. Okay, we're in. Just gotta float. Into the goal. 7-6. Just gonna jump and do a PTB. That is a shitty PTB. But the goal is so far below us. It's not gonna be fast or anything. Oh, thank God. Starting to think I might not be able to get there after all of that. Everything that I did there. 7-7. I've already done this wrong because I'm out of practice, but we're fine. I could have saved a... I could have gotten a sub 20, or at least a really low 20. Now this will be a 20.4. That's my guess. 20.4. Holy shit, Pawn. Yep, I know my business. It ain't my first time cluster trucking. In. Shit! Damn it! Damn it. That is a huge loss. That's 12 seconds or more. You can get there now, Pawn. I think we clear this in about 24 seconds doing all of that work. Maybe 28. And this is going to be a 45. No, a 38. Alright, yeah. I didn't lose that much. Shit, I forget what I was supposed to do here. And I don't trust that. I'm just going to land you. And go. And float it in. It's a good backup when I don't remember what I'm doing. Alright, all skill, no luck, everybody. All skill, no luck. All skill, no luck. I'm not gonna go for it. Don't go for it. Fuck! All skill, no luck. All skill, no luck. Jesus Christ, I almost fucked that up. The fact that I've got levitation, actually making this harder to do. If it were no ability, I'd be more consistent. Alright, 8-1. Boom, boom. God damn it, Pawn. I'm trying to go out to the left for a PTB here. Keep the speed, throw it, because if I don't get it, then I can always just get back to the trucks and carry it on. That's how you want to be doing that. God damn it. Fucking run! Stop bouncing off everything like a goddamn pachinko ball in a machine. 8-2, you fool. Oh, here we go. Nope. 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 Fuck. Fuck, that was really close. That's good. No. That's it. That one's in. Just gotta stay above that cog. Okay. 8-4. Same thing. Same thing. Stop fucking me over, game. Okay, it's my own hand fucking me over, too. There we go. Me on the outside. We'll come in from underneath it. Bad PTBs so far on World 8, but I am very out of practice. So it's coming back to me. It's all coming back to me now. I'm gonna go under for this. Yeah. 7. Damn it. Okay. And jump. And we're going. What comes next, pawn? I know what comes next. It's you. Do not fuck this up. Okay. Okay. 8, 9. Nope. Nope. God damn it. 8, 9 doesn't usually give me troubles. But it's giving me troubles now. Holy shit, I got through though. 8, 10. Good. Get to one side. Made it. Take that hit and we're into hell. Just gonna reset. Let's see what I get through here. Shit. Alright, yep, fuck that up pretty good there, pawn. Well, let's see what we do here. Come on. No, don't jump. Fuck it. It's height. It's probably enough to take me to goal. Those are hard, the ones where you don't jump and you just spin and go in. Hard to come into them and get them right. Damn it. Damn it. Fuck me. This is a really hard one for me. And it's just a huge waste at this point. Can I just run it in then? Yeah, alright. Alright. 9-4, reset as we come in. Try and keep the speed. We lost a little bit on that jump, but we should still be well ahead of the toenail. We are. 9-5, 1, 2, 3, and go. Ooh, nice little extra left boost off of that one for 14-0 as we did it. 9-6. Just climb the hill. Well, left strafing the whole way, doing little ghost pops here. Some speed on the last one. Throw myself way out here. Little lev. Not what it's fine. 9-7 now. Worst level in the game. I should have reset when we came in. Would have given me a more consistent version of the level. Okay, made it. Now 9-8. This was a plan that we had, and it actually works really well when you do it right. That was not me doing it right. Shit. Fuck it. We'll just run it. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, and then 9-9. Just gotta climb this chain. Wait a second. And then go. Go. Land one of these trucks. Keep the speed. Keep going. Keep going. Lots of speed. Lots of fast. Keep the fast pawn. There we go. That's fine anyway. And into 9-10. It's a good throw. It's a good throw. All I gotta do is hit the button right now. Got it. got it for a 2109 in any percent. Ooh, and that was a gold on 910 for us. I guess I haven't done 910 with that quickly before. Got up on like the second PPTB? It was good. That was good. Spent a little bit more time in the air than I needed to, but, you know, wanted to not die. This is a solid run. Yeah, I am banking these low 21s consistently now. When, you know, on a run that we take to the end, which basically usually just means that we got out of World 2 with decent time. But I'm coming in with these low 21s with regularity. It's good to see you again, even if the world is falling apart around us. Is Blue Man bad? It's that much better to see you while the world is falling around us. The world needed to crumble, you know? It's little, you put some brown sugar in there, and then maybe like some graham cracker. It needed to crumble. You see what? Because the pastry, it's the crumble. But yeah, it's good to see you. It's good to see you as well. Let's see what this is. We were due for a disaster. Well, one, it's a number of them apparently, all simultaneously. Let's look back at that and see where the golds are. We're down to 16:11.93 by RTA in our sum of best. Best possible time, well, that's 16:11.93. That's what sum of best is. But that was a gold on 910 on 9.4. That was a gold, really? I can do better than that 9.4. It was a smooth 9.4, but it was just smooth. It wasn't like smooth and holy shit, look at that speed. I guess I just haven't done a really smooth 9.4 in the full game to pull in a gold there. We came through. Let me just double check that we're looking at the right thing. We are comparing against personal best. Okay. So we were 32.5 seconds slower in hell this time than in PB. We were right on par with World 8. And came into it with, 15 seconds behind, went out of it 16 seconds behind. So, we managed World 8 well enough with some losses and gains to keep on par there. World 7, 7-1, I managed to get another gold. I am just shaving hundredths of seconds off of other times at this point, because that was just an average 7-1. It was a good 7-1, but it was, nothing too... Anyone else see a cat there? Where are my cats? What's that?
Nice.
Derek, just wait a pull up the Streamlabs thing. Derek donated $69. $69. Thank you so much, Derek. I gotta ask, is it Derek Gregg that just gave me $69? Is it just, it's another Derek? Thank you so much for the cat. Whatever it was, I only saw it just, it kind of came, and I didn't know. Frackle is Derek. Frackle, thank you so much, Frackle. $69 friggin' dollars to replace a $101 donation. You guys, when you give through the Streamlabs, damn, you give big. And that is... It's one that, nobody's going to want to replace for a good long time. And the 69-bit cheer as well. Thank you very, very much. Frackle. So yeah, that was just an average 7-1 for a gold. Came through World 7, 9.4 seconds slower than PB. Out of World 6, we saved 6.2 seconds over PB, but it was overall a loss, I guess? Yeah, because we came through it 6.6 from 0.5 we lost, so we must have lost even more in the old PB coming out of there. But that's not bad, coming in at 0 and then losing time, but pulling it back, and leaving World, getting out of 610 with a gold? Oh, you're thinking of the wrong level, Pawn. Oh yeah, 610. I hovered at the top. 610 is the one where you just jump out and then you feed yourself through the grating as you're passing, through the grills along the side of it. And at this one, instead of waiting until I got out there and slowing myself down and then trying to weed my way through, I actually jumped and then did a little bit of hover, like just past the top of my arc, and then turned and fell in and didn't do a second levitation. And apparently that's faster than I've ever done it, which is surprising because I could have swore at some point when we were running the game in these splits that I had done it without using any levitation. I just jumped out and gone 610 straight in. I'm sure that I have, but maybe it comes down to, since we're looking at RTA here, maybe it comes down to clicking the next level button faster. And World 5, we held our time through there, 2.4 seconds slower than PB overall, putting in another gold on 5.8. Medieval World 5.8. 5.8 was, yeah, it was just I got a really good mega jump at the beginning, and you know, I was able to level all the way to gold. We've done that before in the run. That must have just been 100th of a second time save, or I clicked the next level button faster. World 4 was where we really pulled it back for ourselves, being, you know, pretty consistently 30 seconds behind through the first 3 worlds, I believe, if I recall correctly. I mean, that's what the times are showing, but I think even during the levels we were really locked on 30 seconds behind. World 4 coming out of 410, because 410 was it's a big scar in the PB that we're running against right now. I took like 2 deaths in 410, and they were stupid. The first one was a really late, you know, you've just left 10 seconds behind because of this death, kind of a death. TBH Elite, to be honest, elite. Thank you for the 30 Mr. Destructoids. So wait, why was there a cat on the screen? Cats do what they want, says Frackle. It's one of the things you can do with Streamlabs, apparently. I didn't even know that I had that turned on. But, thank you again, Frackle, so much for $69. So World 4, that's where we pulled our time back quite a bit and started to be able to fight for the last half of the game. World 3, we took a gold on 3.9. Winter World 3.9, just before we come to the final world, 3.9, 3.9, 3.9, 3.9. Oh, 3.9 is the corridor level, right? It's the one that's just a corridor, and it's got all the logs back and forth, and we turn around, we throw a truck at it, we get rocketed across the level. That was a really, like, fast PTB. It wasn't necessarily, like, I reset at the beginning, so I didn't get it off fast, but it gave me an incredible amount of velocity straight to goal, so I can believe that that was gold. And we actually gained time in Winter World just a little bit, so we held with our PB through Winter World for 2.4 seconds. But where we got behind, apparently, is in Forest here. 2.7. I remember taking Silly Deaths. I took Silly Deaths in Desert World, too, so that put us a little bit behind. And then took a Silly Death on 2.7. 2.7 it's actually not an easy level. It's a very straightforward level. It's, as I have heard recently, the words said, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's straightforward in what needs to happen, but it's not easy to pull off. How does your desktop look like that? Asks Comic Exploit. What desktop? What are you talking about? There's nothing there. Are you taking your medication, Cosmic Exploit? Where nobody in chat is talking. There's no desktop. Has anybody seen a desktop? This is a program called Fences by Stardock that allows me to group everything like this. And if you double click on the desktop, then you can make it all disappear. Double click again, and at the top here, it also supports. You can like dock things to, you know, the sides of the screen. So this is the directory into which we are recording this very live stream right now. And if I want to get to it, I don't have to go down here and open up a thing and do a thing. And hey, the Prestige. I didn't get that via torrent illegally. Shut up. You never saw it. In fact, you never saw anything. There's nothing going on here. There's nothing to see here, people. But it supports that. It also supports, I could make that just a, you know, list of file names, which is what I use. In fact, I shall show you because it is something that I rarely or have ever, if I've ever shown it off. I use that for my music. So when we go to live stream break, you see me doing something. I'm looking over it at a different monitor while I'm doing that. I'm doing this, and I'm just scrolling through the list and picking out which song I want to play, and then setting up the number of songs. Very convenient set of features with Fences. For your desktop by the company Stardock. It is overpriced software that does not have all of the features that I would like it to have, but I have happily used this for a long time. And I got it as a package on Humble Bundle when they were just doing a Humble Bundle helpful software pack. So I didn't have to pay as much for it, but it's still good. I mean, it's worth it. There's still limitations. You downloaded that because of Rick and Morty. I mean, purchased digitally. I digitally purchased the... I didn't, actually. I don't know Rick and Morty. I watched it because someone who's been staying here told me that it is a very good movie and wanted me to watch it. And so we watched that movie. And I totally acquired it legally through with my VPN routed through London, but that was completely that had nothing to do with anything. I was feeling like, wouldn't it be nice to pretend I was from London right now while I happen to open up this thing and then but it was it's I did nothing wrong. Wait, my lawyer says that I should say that. Roninpawn, what is one book you think everyone should read? A book that everyone should read. Wow. That's a big... Come here, baby. That's a big one. A book that everyone should read. Because, just reset these times. You know, there are books that are very special to me. Siddhartha, by Herman Hesse. And it's a classic, you know, it's Hesse. So that's like a very important book, and it's to me. But everybody need to read that. And then, like, books that I enjoy, I love the whole, like, David Wong series of books. John Dies at the End is the first one, and then the second one is This Book is Full of Spiders, subtitled Seriously, Dude, Don't Touch It. And then the third book is What Did I Even Just Read, or something like that. I love David Wong for all that, very entertaining, but a book that everyone has to read? I'm tempted to say Mogworld. Which is just, it's not, you know, it doesn't have any societal, it's not like a fucking, you have to read it because it's important literature. No, it's just a really good fucking book by Yahtzee, aka Ben Croshaw, of the Escapist magazine, who does Zero Punctuation. Mogworld was his first book, and my god, if he didn't write a fucking killer book with like cinematic pacing for a literary work. It's just, it goes and it keeps you involved, and it's good. A book that I should read is Quadribus. Not that everyone should read, but a book that you should read? Well, I've listed a number of them. Now, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I was a big fan of Dickens, but that's just, you gotta love verbose text, and you gotta love it so much that you want a book that's like 1,600 pages long, and not in small, big 1,600 pages long, because you want to be able to end every day, you know, for several weeks or a month by reading a couple of chapters of Dickens. So can't recommend that to everybody. I've heard great things about Lord of the Rings, Dune, and 1984. You have just reminded me, you have just reminded me of actually a book that probably everyone should read. Yeah. This is, as a appreciator of comedy, a book that everyone should read, that I don't have any hesitation saying everyone should read it, is, you know, that book, title I can't really... Catch-22. Catch-22 is it is the only book, that's not true anymore. It is the first book that I ever read that made me laugh out loud, and it is the only book that it made me laugh out loud, like, consistently, where it's not just like a certain moment in the book that's particularly funny, or, you know, a couple of lines of text here and there. Like, it is a book that you are reading and you just burst out, like, seriously gut laughing throughout that book at a lot of different times, is how I remember it. So Catch-22, and it's a classic. It's one of those ones that, you know, they should be telling you to read in high school, or, you know, year one of college or something like that. Everyone should read Catch-22. Joseph Heller and Frackle links it. That was a rather more comprehensive answer than I was expecting, so I thank you dearly, sir. Yes, well, I like to be asked about what I like. And I like to talk about, you know, myself. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy suggests Nerd God. You know, it's funny is that, like, with the recommendations of Lord of the Rings, Dune, 1984. Actually, no, I have read 1984. I haven't read Lord of the Rings. I read some of I read some portion of Lord of the Rings. I read The Hobbit. I read the first of the books of Lord of the Rings, but not Dune. Read 1984. I did like the Orwell stuff. I was into that, but it's kind of, I don't know if I'd enjoy it as much today, you know? It's like, you want to be young and passionate and have socialist ideals, and then read that, and it'll be like, yeah. So it's got, like, I feel like that book has the feeling that was captured by the movie Brazil, with several people from Monty Python, and I think there were some Monty Python kids. Brazil, where arts were entertaining June, we stood beneath an amber moon and whispered softly, someday soon, someday, we kissed, and held each other then. Tomorrow was another day. Anyway, Berenstein Bears, wait a second, I saw something. Wait, John dies at the end of the movie is based on a book, and there's more of them, says CJ. And you say, oh shit indeed. And the movie is, it's pretty good in terms of, like, turning that book into a movie. But, the books are always better, and yes, this book is better, but that was a pretty good, it was good at what it was doing. And honestly, the way the arc of the John Dies at the End series goes is John dies at the end, and then this book is full of spiders, seriously dude, don't touch it is better. And then seriously dude, what did I just read is like back to John dies at the end, or maybe a little bit lower even. Like the first one is, you think it's great when you read it, and then you read the second one and you're like, holy shit, this is great. And then you read the third one and you're like, that was nice. It was, it was nice to spend some time with those characters again. But the second book really does some shit with those characters in that world. Have you seen the SpaceX launching crewed craft to the space station? I have not. I didn't know. My dad actually mentioned, SpaceX launch, that he had wanted to. Apparently he missed the timing, but he had wanted to look and see if he could see it because he's in Florida and they're launching from wherever they launch in Florida. Is it Canaveral? Is that where is that? That's a Florida place, right? Cape Canaveral. But I didn't know that it was a manned launch. He just said to SpaceX launch, and I've had my head in the sand for the past week, and apparently to the great benefit of, well, me. I tuned into the SpaceX stream long enough to see them talk about bag lunches. Really? We launched humans to the International Space Station, says Frackle. Cool. SpaceX that's got to be the first, people on a SpaceX launch, yeah? So, because everybody's got to already be talking about it, how long are they saying until, I'd like to know what their launch schedules are in terms of prepping to, for the whole goal of going to Mars. Now, personally, I don't think you should go to Mars. I think it's stupid. I think it's too soon. It's not what we should be doing. We should be, doing something that has more potential benefit. I feel like going to Mars is really just like planting a flag on Mars and going, look, we did it. And I feel like the plans that I've heard about going to Mars from NASA and SpaceX and everyone else are not really smart colonization plan. It doesn't seem like that, it really does seem like we're just going to send people up there, they plant a flag, and then we'll rotate people around and maybe it'll go somewhere at some point. And it's there's so many other things that we could be doing with those vast resources and the risks that those people are willing to take that would be of greater benefit to a space program than going and landing on this, hard to live on, just radioactive, just all of the sun's fucking radiation slamming down on you. You gotta fucking bury your housing in your own feces just to give you an extra layer of protection from the solar radiation and shit. It's this is a ridiculous plan. We shouldn't be doing that yet. We should do that eventually, but we should go to colonize and know what we're going to do and be, colonize. We want to get down on the ground, men and women, and then they start fucking on Mars because it's a colonization force. We're going there to be there. But we're going to send the equipment to be there, not to visit. But I just feel like there's so many better things that that we could be doing with those resources. I mean, just going to, Venus, right? Venus is in from us, yeah? Mars is out, Venus is, I sometimes do that. I'm like, Saturn? No, that's the one with the rings. But Venus, right? Mercury, Venus, and then Earth. I think Venus would be a more like a better place to go with its atmosphere and the density of its atmosphere and plans that have been suggested where you could erect a floating city. You could erect your space station and just fill it with breathable gas, and it would just float on the dense atmosphere in Venus, and then you could, you'd have the, I don't know what is in the atmosphere of Venus, but I imagine with as many acidic things that are in the atmosphere that like those potent chemicals would be rife for you to use in keeping the base running and things like that. And in terms of like, well, but on Mars you could grow. No, you can't. Like, you gotta, I mean, I've seen that they have managed to like get things to grow up a little bit in the fake Martian soil that we've made. It's supposed to stimulate Martian soil and stuff. But it's, ooh, thank you. Has my voice sounded like that? I don't think that you farm any more successfully on Mars than you would indoors on Venus in an environment that you can control while experimenting with and studying what's going on Venus. And I just think it's an easier mission. Like literally, your housing can be a reinforced tinfoil bubble. There is so little delta V cost to setting up shop in, or riding on the surface of Roninpawn. Robot voice canceled. Robopawn, destroy all humans. I didn't, that's what I wanted to say before. It would be cool to see more of Venus. The only lander sent there melted in like 30 minutes, so we have like 5 photos. Yeah, and Venus is too hot and subject to solar flares, isn't it? And Mars is too cold, but like there are challenges there, but I feel like you get the protection from the solar radiation in the atmosphere and the idea of it being too hot. It's not like you can land, you're not going to land on the surface. You're going to be at some level in the atmosphere, and your housing would be made of reflective foil film, and you'd have all of those chemicals that are in the atmosphere to pull off of for things like evaporation and condensing evaporation for controlling atmosphere. And I don't know. I think that's more interesting, and I think it's more viable than sending people to Mars who are just kind of stranded on Mars in a completely inhospitable environment. To unless you're going to really commit to it and do a colonization force, we're going to dump some people there and rotate them in and out. If it's for the sake of scientific discovery, I think Venus is easier. But I don't know. It's just what I think. Because it's so much fucking delta V to get to Mars, and then to land on Mars, and then to come off of Mars, and trying to swap people out. It's a fucking lot. Venus, you're never actually landed. You're kind of always in orbit. It's easy to approach. It's easy to maybe all of the acidic nature of the atmosphere makes it hard to do things like that, like approach the base for a landing. But Cloud City, man. Cloud City. We could do it. And the idea, and also, I don't know, I haven't studied Venus, but I think Venus, because of the way that the atmosphere is and its density, there are certain levels within the atmosphere that have higher and lower concentrations of things. So Karen bringing up like sulfuric acid, and I feel like that's a thing, isn't it? That is a thing that's in the Venusian atmosphere. But, at a certain level of, stratosphere, ionosphere, that kind of stuff in that atmosphere, I think it's like, you could set up shop. I think. I don't know. I've seen some videos, and I've just considered what Mars is, and it seems more like a place that we want to go because, humans want to whip their dick out and be like, hey! And Venus is a place where you can't really whip your dick out on it because you can't get to the bottom of it, but I think it's more scientifically interesting. So it would be the more like, it's not just about, we get to put a fucking flag and feet down on the ground and go hooray. It would be like if we as a society could say the most beneficial thing to us, and the most efficient thing for us to do in the next step is the better thing to do than risk it all and a whole bunch of people's lives to send them to a place where it's not hospitable, and they'll probably die from radiation on the trip back, so that we can whip our dick out with the fucking flag and go, yeah, check it out, check me out. Because that's what Mars kind of feels like to me. I wonder who's going to be the first person to bone down on another planet. That would make going to Mars make sense to me. If it was to go to Mars and get the boners out. If it was meant that the people who are going to Mars will stay on Mars, and die on Mars. And, people will come after them to reinforce, but the idea would be land a small group of people with the stated intention of, we gonna fuck. We're going to get down. We're going to have, the first baby born on Mars. We're going to see if that's a thing that the human body can do. If it's a colonization force that has a mind for establishing permanence, then it's worthwhile. If it's just, we're going to go there because we think we can now, well, then do Venus instead. I don't know. Maybe Venus doesn't make sense. I'm not sure. Hey, you can go to Mars, but you'll die, but it's also an orgy. It's good marketing. There's a lot of fucking fighter pilots who would absolutely sign up for that. I see them in the bars around the airports. These guys would absolutely be like, die from my bones weakening, radiation. But they'd have to fuck me. And if I'm the one man and there's fuck, ooh. I actually think that if we were to develop the tech needed to terraform Venus or Mars, we'd be able to use that tech to resolve climate change and other things here on Earth. I would think they'd send criminals to Mars, like a post-dystopian Australia. It's too much money to waste on criminals. Why not just, stick them in prison for and offer no means of reform and take all the books out of the prisons and then don't give them education programs like we were doing because it's more cost efficient, and then we could hire corporations to do the jobs. The states wouldn't have to be involved, and then there'd be no human compassion in the system. People who go in would never be able to get out. Why ship them to Mars when you could just do that? When you could do that. I am the Roninpawn. My first live stream back after a number of days, and it's short, and I only did one full-on live, run a Clustertruck, but I feel good, and I might have some things that I'm doing today. I'm not sure. I might have plans a little bit later. We're going to find out, but I'm going to go. I will be back again soon. I'm not going to make it a habit of disappearing for an entire week. Thank you so much for the friggin' donations and the gift subs and the straight subs today, because, you go away for a week, and I had a proper, relaxation, but I couldn't help, in the back of my mind, if I'm not out there doing this regularly, it's I do have to pay the friggin' bills, so thank you again for Macy and TDH Elite, Frackle, Derek, Chris Pratt for the host. Was that today? That was today. Something Max, So Karen, Ben VOC, Mosaic Task Force, Insights, Psy. Damn! That's a lot of names to read. Also, they're going to play pretty much immediately when I roll the outro screen. But I wanted to say so personally. Thanks for coming out, everybody. I'll see you back here again soon. Stay safe. And, if you gotta burn a police department down, do what you gotta do. On out. Bye.